Hello and welcome to SupNerd, the podcast where we talk about gaming, nerd culture, and everything in between. I'm your host and founder of SupNerd, Victoria Cheng, and I have two very special guests with me today, women who have been through the thick and thin of the Southeast Asia esports scene. We have Tammy Tang, the founder and owner of FSL, and Kimberlyn C, the esports operations lead at FSL. And they also do a lot of other things, and you guys have been in this space for a very long time. But before that, I want to give you guys some info. We have a video version of this podcast available on YouTube and MeWatch. So if you want to put a face to our lovely voices, do check those out. Links will be in the description. So let's get into this week's episode. Women in gaming, an unexpected perspective. So this topic means a lot to me, obviously, because I'm a woman, and I wanted to save this for our final podcast of season 1 because I was just thinking about it for a long time, and I wanted to get the right people to speak with us on this. A lot of women's topics seem to be oriented towards women, which makes sense, but sometimes it shuts men out from the topic. And especially the discussion becomes, it veers from maybe discussion about some injustices that need to be fixed into straight up man hating. So we want to avoid that today. And, having a talk with Kim and Tammy before this, I think we're very much aligned on this. And we want to be able to speak about this in a way that is approachable for everyone. Maybe just, shed some light in ways that you guys might not know about women in gaming. So I've had questions from the lads, guy friends. They really want to know and understand women in gaming and are afraid to ask because they don't want to upset people. So we're going to get through those questions today. Before that, would you guys like to introduce yourselves and who are you guys?
So I guess other than founding and running FSL, we should start talking about how we actually got together in the first place. Kim and I used to play Dota competitively together and against each other.
Oh, against each other too.
Really long time ago,
15?
A decade.
Yes.
At least. Yeah.
I told you guys, they've seen things. They've been around.
And we also currently own that organization that we used to play under.
Oh.
Right now, it's pivoted towards supporting streamers rather than competitive gamers, but it still exists, and its name is Asterisk. I guess I started my career in esports when I joined Razer. It was actually really strange because they set up this booth at some convention, and I happened to be shoutcasting at the convention. And I walked by and I saw that they had this "we are hiring" thing out on the front. So I went and applied, and I got the job eventually. So I stayed there for about 5 years. After exploring a bunch of different departments there, I decided to come out and start running my own tournaments. So I did that freelance for maybe 2 or 3 years. And of course, I was also still competing. And at that point in time, we were taken under this US-based organization called Clan PMS, which stands for Pandora's Mighty Soldiers.
Pandora's Mighty Soldiers. I love it.
So, yeah, the name, well. That's why the PMS has been stuck in front of my name forever, because that's where, that's the timing when everything was made, all the Gmails and all the Twitch accounts and everything. So is it like PMS Furry Fish or PMS Tammy? Okay. PMS. It's kind of something I can't get away from, but anyway. So my clan leader from PMS, she started working at Twitch, and she asked me to apply to her department. So I also applied, and I got the job, and I was working there under events for a couple of years.
How about you, Kim?
I've always been a gamer, and I've been competing for a very long time, but I haven't always been working in the esports industry. I was a cabin crew, and then I joined ESL for a year. And then I left the esports industry because I went to pursue my retirement plan, which was to be an early childhood educator. So I went to study and went to be, because at the point of time I kind of decided that maybe it's time to not work in esports, because that was how long? 4 years back. So at that point of time, I think it just doesn't feel like esports is going anywhere. And me being a Singaporean, you know, I feel
Got to be practical about life decisions.
And at the point of time, I was like 25, 26.
I know.
Yeah, but
Retirement.
no, but okay, I shouldn't call it a retirement plan,
So
but it's just
Singaporean.
something that I would want to have as a backup plan in case, like, you know, when I'm 60, I can still, you know, go and take care of kids. I like children, so
Okay.
that's why I went ahead to do it. It's something that I've been wanting to do for a long time anyways. So I left, and then I was 2 years into the job when Tammy came to me. So at the point of time, I was still competing and I was still playing games with her.
Oh, cool. I wonder if these kids knew that their like educator was competing.
No, they don't.
That'd be pretty cool.
So Tammy came in and asked me. She told me that she has gotten investors interested in FSL, and if I wanted to be a part of a team to kind of grow it, take it further. And I had a very hard time deciding because I was happy in my job, and it was hard. So,
But you did it, I think, right?
Yeah.
Are you still doing both? Or are you full on? You're full on.
No, I left
FSL.
my
Okay.
early childhood job. So
Any regrets? I don't know. Should I be asking that?
I don't think so. I'm very thankful of the opportunity, and yeah, I think I'm quite lucky.
I think, okay, so our last podcast was about careers in gaming, and I think it's always good to have like multiple skills anyway. So even if you stay within the gaming space, like going beyond like being a competitive gamer and like having experience and developing other skills is like, it's always a good thing. So even if you leave the esports scene, I think it's good. Okay, so we're going to go back to the women's topic now, where gaming's supposed to be the great equalizer. The question I do get is why separate women into their own league instead of having them compete side by side with men. FSL, what does it stand for? It's the Female Esports League, right? That's what FSL is, or is it?
So we started out calling it Female Esports League, but as the years went by and as we, opened up our research to other regions especially, we discovered that using the word female could be very controversial because it's something that's assigned to you at birth and it changes throughout your life. So we didn't want to create any problems with the name, so we just abbreviated it to FSL.
Oh, interesting. So it doesn't stand, it's just FSL now.
As much as possible, we just stick to FSL.
Okay. So going back to that question, why separate it? I mean, I've been asked this question. My thinking was like in boxing, for example, there are women's only gyms or women's only leagues also in boxing as a sport. And it's not just about, women and men competing against each other. It was to create a safe space. And at least that was my perspective, when talking to, answering some of these guys. Mark was actually one of the people who asked this question. And I was like, sometimes you just don't want to think about it. You don't, it's not even about competing against men or not. You just don't want to deal. And sometimes there are comments or toxicity or like just pressure and you just don't want to deal with it. You don't even want to see them and you just want to like focus on the sport. So to me, that was possibly one of the reasons. But I thought, I just ask you guys directly why that is.
For me, it's not really a question of why separate. You can ask that question of a lot of things, like why have nationality-based tournaments? Like it's the same kind of question because you want to serve a certain group or because that group is particularly active or at a different stage from the main cohort and they just would like to do something a little different. It's not that women cannot play with men. In fact, I think for most open tournaments, women can compete with men in the same team, against them, whatever. There's no restrictions against it. It's just that we are not really seeing it. So there are probably a ton of reasons, but we just want to serve the group.
Yeah. And basically have a space for them. Are there differences in men and women in gaming? So you were saying like different nationalities, and it's true, culturally with certain nationalities, style might be different. We see that across certain, within like a particular title, like strategy might be slightly different from region to region. But with women versus men, this might be like a science question, but do you think there are biological differences or something, or like a cultural or gender difference for them in gaming, or not really?
I think definitely when the majority is a certain gender and you are the minority, you will feel emotionally something, and I think that will affect your performance. So we do pole sports, and in my class, I do have a minority of men who do the same sport in a class of women. And you can tell that it's a bit different for them as well. And they talk to you and they tell you that sometimes they feel a bit strange. So it's the same way. I guess we are trying to enter something that is predominantly male. So we will be acting just a different way.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, that's a really good point.
I think for me, the main difference that I've seen is the amount of single-mindedness that they pursue their end goal. So I see that, I don't know if it's just me, but the men that I've encountered, when they say they want to be a pro gamer, they single-mindedly pursue that at the expense of everything else in their lives. And they just go for it.
Yeah.
But I don't really see women doing that. It's like, I wish I could be a pro gamer, but even like us, we wish we could be pro gamers, but we are here now.
So this is not gaming, but there's a topic about why are there less women in C-suite or like CEO positions, and it's like it's not because they're less capable, but it's because they don't want to sacrifice their whole life for this one position. It's not even about the ability. It's many women tend to consider the bigger picture, whether that's like nurture or nature, I don't know. Okay, so in our chat, we were talking about this previously. I forget, one of you guys mentioned that male teams don't necessarily want to train with female teams.
Why would they if the goals or the standard of the women who are competing now is not up to par? Because you only have a certain number of hours of training. You only have a certain number of training hours a week, right? And these pro teams, they want to get the most out of it. And they don't want to like spend 8 hours a day playing, and 4 hours of it is just they're not learning anything from it. So I don't blame them for the guys at the top tier, I guess. But I think there are tier 2 teams or guys who are not very open to playing against women as well, because they think that it's not worth their time, even though they might not necessarily beat the girls.
And that's probably just some old-fashioned perceptions, or...
I'm not really sure. I can't speak for them.
Oh, it's true. Okay, but it's a trend. It's like something that you've seen happen.
Yeah, some teams have feedback that it's quite hard to find scrims against male teams, especially for the girls they're at the top in our tournaments. So they want to improve, they want to go for more, they want to join the open tournaments. They can't always be just looking for scrims in this small community, right? They have to like try to get better opponents to be able to learn and get more from the scrims. So it's hard for them to overcome that hurdle, I think.
Yeah.
Without support from an organization, probably.
When I first started the leagues, it was because I felt there were way fewer women playing the game. And so I see it as like, a triangle. At the bottom, you have like the everyday gamer. And then after that, as you move up, you have the competitive, and then the semi-pro and the pro and the top tier. So as you go up, of course, there are fewer and fewer players, but women are not really present in any of the layers. So that was, at that time, maybe like when I first started gaming 20 years ago, 15 years ago.
Before mobile gaming was a thing.
Yeah.
So my main aim was to introduce the women who were already kind of like casually playing the game to a competitive system where they had to like commit to a roster, commit to trainings, commit to, tournament games for quite a long time, like maybe 4 months. And then, we have a winner at the end of that. So I think that was where we were. But right now, I think we're moving somewhere from people have competitive experience and they're trying to get a little better. So it's new territory all over again. And we're trying to see where that goes. Yeah.
So basically the scene has evolved from back then to now. What's new about it the landscape now. I wish I knew you guys 20 years ago. I mean, it wasn't even Singapore then. That would have been great. It is so hard to find like female leagues, and it's true. Like they kind of block you at the door. Or at least back then, if you were a girl trying to get into gaming, it was just kind of like, why are you here?
I think what you said about titles also matters. If you play a single player game, you would probably have more freedom to take part in whatever you want if you had the guts to do it.
Yeah,
If you're good, you will make it.
Yeah.
true.
But if you're looking at team games, which are what have been hot recently, it's difficult to get on a roster with men, especially a professional one. Yeah.
Oh man, I mean, do you think that's still the case now? Because you're saying it. Okay, the scene has been evolving. Like, what are some like the good or bad things that have changed recently since FSL was founded?
Well, now it's normal to have women playing games. If you hear voice comms and it's a woman, it's normal. Last time it was so weird.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I think that's so cool though. It's especially for the younger generation, it's like the norm to them that their sister, girlfriend, whoever, like it's just normal.
Yeah.
And then I remember when I first started hearing like other female comms on like, you know, with a random like pug or something, I was just shocked, like pleasantly surprised. Like, what do I do? Like, when there's another girl on this team, and then now it's super common. I think certain titles. I don't follow Dota enough, so I don't know how the female scene is in there. But then certain like especially with the emergence of like Valorant, right? It's just very. I don't know if it's 50-50, but it feels like it. I feel like it's very common to find female players in this genre. But how do you empower women now these days? Like, how is it different than before? Is it even necessary?
I think we're still trying to increase the pool of women. We're still trying to do that. It's still not enough. Especially the pool of women competing. So, yeah, I guess we are still at that stage where we kind of want to increase the number of women who are trying to compete and improve themselves and to aspire to be more before we can even move on to having women in professional rosters. Yeah.
No, I think Evolve, your Evolve series is great. I mean, I participated in that, and that one was just like I just took any girlfriend I knew and I was like, want to do this? And all of them were like, no, I don't want to compete. I just play for fun. And I was like, just do it. Like, nothing's gonna happen if we lose. Like, who cares? Like, just have fun and experience it. Like, why don't we just experience it? And I think once they went through that process, it was like, oh, that's not so bad actually.
Right. So I think a lot of the girls, they'll be like, I don't want to like lose in front of everyone.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
But what makes you think you're going in to lose? You might go in and win.
But that's not
Right,
the
yeah.
point. Like, a lot of them just don't want to put themselves out there to be ridiculed. You know, they don't want to
Yeah, I
give
think
others the
especially-
opportunity to.
Yeah, because you already stand out a lot.
Yeah, they don't want to say that you're not even good. Why you want to go and like throw
this a-
face like you know?
Is this a Singaporean thing?
So a lot of them are like that. Like they might be interested a little bit, but they just want someone to like really push and force them to do it, so that they can say that because my friend asked me to do it, not because they really want to.
Yeah, that's what they all say. Oh, Victoria made me do it. I was like, just own it.
But Tammy always says that playing competitively is something that you either love it or you don't. So just try it once, and if you don't like it, just go back to being a casual gamer. It's fine.
That's true.
Right? Some people don't like the stress, the pressure. But for us, it's like
We feed off it.
like if we play a game, we want to be at least above average standard
wanna be
at it,
good.
right?
Yeah.
Like you want to be good at it. So
Yeah.
I mean, there's no right or wrong here. It's just personality or whatever that you want to do with your time in life, and yeah. So it's different for each. So right now, we're just trying to get the girls to try. So the more girls try, I mean, if the pool is larger, then there are higher percentage of girls who are willing to continue on the path, right?
Yeah.
So that's what we're trying to do. Increase the pool first. Yeah, so every time we talk about women in gaming or esports, it's always if the men can do this, why can't the women? Because you're not limited by like strength, physical strength or like in normal sport. So it's always a comparison between women and men. And even when there's a women role model, someone who succeeds, the headline or the conversation will always be about, oh, because this girl can win guys, so why is that the benchmark? Like, why must you compare her to a guy to deem her as successful? So and I also think that as much as we are trying to grow, it has always been women supporting women, and by comparing women to men, it kind of ostracizes the guys. It makes it harder for them to support us. So there might be guys out there who really believes in our cause, who wants to support us, but they might find it hard as well to be vocal about it or to support us, because I don't know.
Yeah, you're right. Because the way it's stated in the headlines is almost like this is women's only. It's almost like they do boys clubs. Like, this is a girls club only. Like, get out. And like that's what that sort of implication is. And then that's not helpful either. It just further divides it or keeps it divided.
Yeah. So I don't know. That's something that we're trying to figure out. I guess our next steps, because like you mentioned, the community has evolved and society as well, and esports has grown tremendously over the past 2 to 3 years. So it's still growing, and it will continue to grow and evolve. So we have to adapt and kind of change as we go along and see what works the best, I guess.
I know you guys have some guys working at FSL behind the scenes who've been with you since the start, which is really cool, and they've been very supportive. I don't know, do you think you'll eventually open up FSL to men?
As in to have tournaments that are for both?
Yeah, maybe. Or I guess anything, yeah. Because I know you guys definitely have staff, right? Who are doing that. And I've definitely seen on the mentorship program that you guys are launching, which is very cool. We can talk about that later.
So I think there were some discussions about having men and women on the same roster, like having a split, like you need to have X number of each before you can take part in our tournament. But I think that's something that we decided against at this point in time. We just want to serve this community first and do it properly without complicating too many things.
Yeah, that's fair. I think so too. I mean, there's still a lot that needs to be done anyway. And I think you guys it's so like you guys have been around for a while, and I feel like you said, like 4 years ago, esports went to this low period, but now it's just like gone on a completely different like trajectory. So I think you guys have a lot to do, and you are doing a lot. So I think we kind of touched upon that, but like, what is it going to take to get like women to the top?
So I'm actually thinking of Besikta. Is that how we pronounce it? Besikta Esports. They took it's
Who that? The League of Legends one?
No, I think that's CS:GO. Zas and
aren't they playing Valorant now?
Yeah, so they were under Besikta, which is a football club, I believe.
Oh.
And I think the reason why that community grew to have such prominent women gamers was because there were a lot of Counter-Strike leagues going on in Europe, and that really helped build the community up to a level where they were recognized as good players and familiar faces. So I think that's where we are trying to head to, but it's going to take a while to reach that same level that they did. They do exist, probably not on the same level as the top tier men, but hopefully getting there.
Is it just a matter of time, you think, or do we have to like push?
I feel like we have to work towards it and constantly remind everyone that that's the goal, but not aggressively force the issue. Because there have been attempts in the past, but a lot of times it just becomes like a marketing thing, or then it fails and then it becomes a bad record.
Okay, what do you mean by a marketing thing? I know what you mean, but please elaborate in case anyone
doesn't know. I mean, let's face the fact that women are always used to like, promote things or like, be models or like just to be the face of a brand.
Or just the diversity.
Yeah. So we feel like it's an opportunity and that an advantage that we have versus the guys who probably don't have opportunities like us. But at the same time, for the girls who are really trying to be pro gamers, it doesn't help them a lot if they were just expected. Maybe the brand just needs you to be an ambassador. So there are a lot of like brand ambassadors of a team. They are just the face of the organization, but they don't really compete.
In a weird way, it's like there's still trophies.
Yeah.
I think you guys, you said this in our comment, like it's not helpful when women are just tokens of representation. And I really like that line. But it's so true. And it goes across multiple industries, but definitely in esports too. It backfires, right? Especially like you said, if you're a pro esports player or aspiring one, and then they assume you're there because you're just a woman who got in because they needed a woman to represent. And, it helps sell whatever, like it helps sell the brand more. And it's
so I feel like the point where the community, the esports industry is ready for women to be competing at the top tier is when people don't immediately give the reaction. Let's say a women player makes a good play and the first thought that comes to their mind is not, oh, because she got lucky, or because the guy is not playing seriously, or whoever the opponent is. So I mean, to be honest, sometimes I do think that as well, even though I'm a woman. Like if I see a girl do something great, I might just think that, oh, maybe she got lucky or
It's a fluke.
Yeah. So it's kind of like nurtured into us by society.
Yeah.
So it takes a long time to change that, or maybe like generations. We want it to happen, but I don't think that is something that could be rushed or fast forwarded to, because it takes years and years of nurture or
Perception change.
So it's bigger than just let's put a girl into this team, and even though she's like maybe top 100 in the region's leaderboard, doesn't mean that she'll be able to perform to her best if she's just placed there.
I think as it gets more normalized, and like you guys said, it is getting more normalized, which is, it'll be helpful. And I know what you mean by that knee-jerk reaction. It's like, why are you really there? And then I have to stop myself too and like kind of, again, this can go across industries, and like stop myself like, oh my God, please don't be that like toxic woman against her. Like,
or like if a girl plays, so I was like, oh, is it a guy playing for her?
Yeah.
That's the most common one.
Yeah.
Is it a guy playing for her? Something like that.
That's so annoying.
When that stops, like when majority of the viewers or players stop immediately jumping to that, I think then we are ready.
Yeah.
When there are enough women who are good, that everyone can recognize the fact that there is this huge pool of girls who are good, and this is a fact that they can't doubt it anymore.
It's not even a question, right?
Yeah,
it's
then
like,
I think we're good to go.
that'd be great. There are people who ask me like, oh, do you play this game because of Kim? My boyfriend's name is Kim. He's one of the SupNerd guys. Oh, do you play that game because of Kim? Because like Kim doesn't even play this game. Like, it's so annoying. And it's just like, so many titles where they assume it's just because of my boyfriend or something. And I'm like, I don't know. Did you ever get that when you were first starting out? I'm sure you don't.
I mean, I'm one of the cliches that started playing games because of my then boyfriend.
Oh, okay.
But I continue even.
But you don't like, you're not good at what you do because of him. Well, maybe he's supportive, but yeah.
It's been a very long time since I was young and starting out a new game. I don't know how to put it, because like right now I feel like I'm kind of getting irrelevant or outdated from how the young people, like maybe the teenagers,
like younger than
how
us.
how the teenagers
Learn new things.
learn games or
The process.
yeah.
I guess there's nothing wrong with your boyfriend or a guy introducing you a game, but then I think that just shouldn't be the first assumption, right?
Yeah, because like when the way that I was introduced to games, because my male friends told me about the games, and nobody in my family plays games, and we are all daughters, all girls. So I don't have a brother or whatever. So that's the only way that I got to know about games. So I'm just thinking that for the girls now, it might just come naturally. Like they just use their mobile phone and they scroll through the app store and there's a game there, and then they will just explore games. So they might not need someone to
Not necessarily like a guy. I think. Right?
Yeah. That's my thought. Like it's normal for them to be exposed to games now. Yeah, it's very different for you lah because of your family, but
Why? Do you have a lot of
No, I'm from a family of girls as well.
Oh.
But
Oh.
my dad was an early adopter of like PCs and stuff.
Oh.
So I used to play MS-DOS games.
Yeah.
I used to like, mess around with Britannica.
Yeah. Oh my God. I know exactly what you mean. We're so old. Like, I know now. I think we're around the same age. I mean, the fact that, yeah.
Yeah. So I was already very interested in computers. And my sister, on the other hand, she would just use it to be on IRC or later ICQ.
Yeah.
Whereas I'd be searching for ways to, play the Windows games or
Yeah.
the DOS games or whatever. So I think the interest is already there.
Yeah. Some girls or guys might not. I know guys who are just not interested in games. Korean guys too. It's really weird. But yeah, if we're
Plus,
going to keep stereotyping.
It's so common now because everyone interacts online.
Yeah.
Everyone like
It's
the
normal, right?
teenagers or the tweens, they they hang out online. They don't hang out. I don't know when I was young, we go to like LAN shops or we meet up, go shopping malls. But I don't think they do that as often now. They're just let's meet up online and play games. Let's
Yeah, it's like a way to
hang out on Discord and watch a movie on Discord together. Like my sister, she's like early 20s. She's on Discord with her friends for the whole day. I don't know, it's just the company of your friend,
Yeah.
not in real life.
I mean, I used to kind of do that too. Like last time in Warcraft 3, then
Yeah.
you have like your clan rooms. Then you just turn on
You
your
just
comm
sit
and you
there.
just go there and
Yeah.
like, find whoever's there and chit chat.
She started that like maybe two years ago, Gina. And I was like surprised to see that she's just in the Discord call with her friends for the whole day. And then they will like, I don't know, just do things together or just she's early 20s.
Early 20s. Oh. Oh, not even like young. I mean, it's young, but not
Yeah.
super duper young.
Yeah, so
Like not tweens.
yeah, it was a bit hard for me when I was growing up. I didn't have like a desktop at home, so I couldn't play games at home.
That makes a big difference. I had a similar situation as Tammy, but it was my mom my dad is actually really anti-gaming. And he's since had 3 little girls, my like half sisters, and he's like, don't give them anything. I've like bought them a Switch for their birthday, introducing slowly. I'm bringing my PlayStation over when I fly tonight, and like slowly just gonna like introduce them. But it was my mom, she was super into PCs and same thing, like MS-DOS and like all those early little like hyper pixelated games. Okay, tell me about your mentorship program at FSL, which I'm super keen on personally.
So we launched our mentorship program yesterday. It's part of Riot's VCT Game Changers Academy program, which is targeted at aspiring pros or talents who are just starting out or who has reached a point where they feel stuck and don't know how to improve, or they might not have the resources that they need to improve. So we launched it for talents and players, and we have mentors who are assigned to these mentees based on the language that they speak, in English, Thai, or Bahasa Indonesian. Last year when we ran our tournaments, we did not have any rank restrictions on our tournaments. So in a tournament, you would see teams of players who are gold, which is average, to the highest rank. And if they meet each other in the tournament, it's both teams don't get anything out of it, and it will just be like, for lack of a better term, waste of time. So the mentorship program is meant to supplement those, to help the girls, let's say they want to improve but they don't know how or the methods. So things like they always watch replays or VODs of their games, but they might not know what areas that they should be watching. For example, me, when I'm learning, I don't learn by watching replays because I'm just watching it and I don't know what I'm looking out for, and at the end of the 1 hour of watching my own replay, I don't get anything out of it because I don't have someone telling me that, oh, you should be looking at how you move or things like that. So we're hoping that we'll at least be able to help like some teams or some players see improvement in their gameplay or learning. Yep, that's for players. And for talents, it's just there are so many people out there who want to be casters now, but it's hard for them to get opportunities to cast. You don't get the same amount of reach or visibility if you do community tournaments. So the talent mentorship is kind of trying to help talents in Southeast Asia to kind of get a little bit more recognition, a little more training, so that they look and sound professional. Like they might sound great and they do all their homework, they're hard workers, But at the end of the day, to be a talent, you have to look good on camera. You must know how to, I don't know, manage the audience and the camera and drawing viewers and things like that. So it's actually very broad. It's like having knowledge about the game or just being able to cast the game is not good enough. Or even things like how to prepare your portfolio and reels so that if a client asks you for it and when you send it to them, they'll be impressed and you're not just sending them Twitch links.
Yeah, of like an hour's worth of stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, I get that quite a lot and I don't know where to look. So are you expecting me to watch 2 hours worth of clips or just to find you? Maybe you only appear in 15 minutes of that 2 hours and I don't know where to go.
Yeah.
So part of our mentorship program for talents has that program. At the end of the whole program, maybe like a month just to kind of like summarize everything. So how do you present yourself to the client so that they will hire you? So after you've done all the training, after you're sure of your skills, you've honed your skills, but the last step is to get people to hire you.
Of course.
So all these kind of things
That's great.
yeah, so hopefully we will be able to see more Asian talents on international stages. Yeah, that's kind of the aim. That's kind of the aim, yeah.
Oh, that would be amazing. I think it's an amazing program. One of our past, Control, who you guys obviously know really well and has been on this podcast. Yeah, he keeps sending me links. He's like, look what they're doing. Look what FSL's doing. I was like, I know. It's really exciting. And I saw one of the requirements was send in a clip. And I was thinking that. I was like, I wonder how many like long ass clips you guys are getting sent.
Yeah, so I mean, a clip could even be like, watch a game and you cast over it and then you record yourself just for this. It doesn't have to be too long, just 1 or 2 rounds. It's fine. Yeah.
Like, you guys getting like 5 games. Like, oh my God. No, I think that's great. I think this mentorship program is amazing. And it's, I think, it applies to men too, where they're not really sure where to start. But I think because there's a natural community there, it's like easier for them to kind of, to ask a friend who's also in, the gaming space to kind of like find your direction. Maybe less opportunities for women, but it's cool that you guys are doing it. It makes it approachable, especially because we were talking about, competitions where there are women who feel intimidated by it. So maybe they'll feel more prepared because they go through the process. So they're like, okay, now I'm like ready to go in. Because I know I'm like that too. I'm like, I like to prepare before I do anything. So as competitive as I am, like I like to prepare. So it's just, I don't know, maybe it's just like, that's why women are just more organized than men, except Ted. He's pretty organized. Okay, so can men be leaders in the women's movement in gaming?
I think they definitely can. As someone put it to me, they said they are in a position of, I guess, relative power at the moment. And it's up to them to open the door and show the women in, invite the women in. So I think in a way, it's a very nice gesture, but it also enforces stereotypes.
That they're the ones in charge.
Yeah. And they are the ones who are regulating when you can come in and when you cannot come in. So I think it's double-edged sword. As with a lot of things we've discussed today, it's, I guess, the manner in which it's done and the reasons behind it. Yeah.
So we made a lot of progress in the past decade. And I guess to wrap this up, another last question, what could really be improved?
Well, I think to expand on what Kim says, if you're playing a game and, one of the players through voice calls or something turns out to be a woman, just
be normal.
Be normal.
Oh my God, it's a girl! Can you say something again?
Yeah, like that's, if you normalize things, they will feel, like, hey, this is just another thing that I'm part of and it's not something weird that I'm doing and things will just get better from there. Perceptions will just change.
A lot of times when a girl plays well, they'll be like, oh, you play very well for a girl.
Yeah.
So just remove the for a girl. But so you just say that you play well.
Yeah.
You did great. That's all. Full stop. Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining me today on the final episode of season 1. I think we had a lot of good insights. And honestly, I think this isn't going to be the last time we'll be discussing this topic. This is, I think, just like a good overview, maybe for anyone who's curious what it's like and how it could be better. Yeah. So thank you guys, girls, for joining me. Guys, girls. Okay, so thank you guys so much for listening to this episode of SupNerd. Don't forget to subscribe to us on MeListen, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts. And if you want to get in touch with us, send some feedback, some episode recommendations, or if you just want to say hello, you can do so by reaching out to us on Instagram at SupNerd.tv or myself at Victoria Cheng, and you guys are at FSL.gg. FSL.gg if you have any questions for Kim or Tammy. So don't forget, there's a video version of the show available on YouTube and MeWatch, and links to those will be in the episode description. This podcast is supported by Mediacorp. Once again, I'm your host, Victoria Cheng, and this wraps it up for season 1. See you later, nerds.